Welcome to the Catholic Life Coach podcast, where I help ambitious Catholic women overcome fear and self-doubt so that they can boldly step into the dreams God placed in their hearts, live authentically, and grow a business rooted in their faith. I'm your host, Karla. I am the Catholic Life Coach, mom, entrepreneur, and your companion on this journey of holy ambition. Each week, we dive deep into faith, mindset, business, and identity so that you can live aligned, lead confidently, and create the impact God designed you for without guilt or hustle. If you are ready to stop holding back and start showing up as the woman God created you to be, you are in the right place. Welcome, and let's get started. I am excited to be here, and today we are going to be talking about something that has been a reminder for me in the past couple of weeks that we need to have expectant faith. How often do we go through life thinking and praying for something to happen, but we are like, God, please make it happen. It would be really nice. I mean, I get that it probably won't happen, but it would be really cool if you can make it happen. This is like the story in the Bible when he says, God, if you will it, it will happen. That is a very different faith than the faith that comes from, God, can you do this? And today I wanted to talk about the difference in how we should be praying, how we should be believing ahead of time. So today we're going to talk about expectant faith. This is the kind of faith that is trusting in God before we see the evidence. This is saying, God, I know it's done. This is the kind of faith, this is the kind of even prayer that says, God, I know you've got this. I trust you. I know you want what's best for me. We believe that that outcome is coming or something even better is coming ahead of time. And we act in accordance. This is the thing, like we are co-creating with God. I say this all the time. This is not one side or the other. It is not God, you do it all or I do it all. That is when we fall out of alignment and we stop doing the things that God is calling us to do. We either say, hey, God, you take care of it. I'm going to sit over here on the couch and do nothing else. Or we say, God, you're cute and all, and I know you love me, but I think I had the better plan over here. So I'm going to go take over that side and leave you behind. At the very least, leave you outside of this goal, right? That is not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is saying, God, I know that this is going to happen or something even better, and I trust your side, and I'm here to do my part. This is living our life anchor in the fact that His promises are already in motion. This is not a, well, God, can you please make it happen? This is I know it's going to happen, and therefore I'm going to move ahead trusting that promise. How many of us that have businesses, that have a mission, and in this podcast, this is the clientele that I have, my clients, my listeners, most of you have a big mission in your heart, whether that is in business or motherhood, or you feel called to grow a ministry. It doesn't matter. We all have been called to something. And if we have been called to something, my question for you is, how many times have we, like my husband would like to say, him-haw with the decision? How many times do we say, should we be doing this business? I don't know. I know that God called me into this, but am I in the right place? I know God called me into this, but did I hear Him right? Here's the truth. If your brain is proposing, are you sure you heard God right? It is not His voice, and that is also not your voice. That is Satan's voice. If you go back to the Garden of Eden, Eve is like, God told us that we could eat out of all of these trees, but that one. And the serpent says, are you sure? I don't know. Maybe God doesn't really want you to know more. So Are you sure that was him saying that? Are you sure that's what he said? That is Satan's voice. And you need to get very good at identifying Satan's voice because he will stop you. He will be the one putting in your head that maybe God doesn't really want this for you, that God might have called you, but I don't know. Are you sure that's what you heard? Expectant faith is moving in our life, not forcing outcomes to make it happen in our timeline. It is not trying to manifest something into existence without surrendering to God first. We are not called to solve our own problems. We are called to surrender it to Him, to surrender that outcome, to surrender the best outcome and the timing of that outcome. If we just believe ahead of time that it's coming, my question for you is, how would you show up different if you knew that that goal is coming? You know that one of my biggest goals was to start traveling with our family. We were already homeschooling. We were moving forward, and that is kind of what that expectant faith looks like. Now, I'm not saying that I was great at it and that I never had moments where I was like, God, are you sure that this is where you're leading us? Of course I had those moments because I'm human, right? But what I want to share with you is that we were preparing ahead of time. We were acting as if it was done. Like it's already been decided that we're going to start traveling. I'm not entirely sure when that's going to happen, but we are taking the right steps forward. So my daughter, Sienna, my oldest, she was in preschool, and that was around the time that God put in our hearts to start traveling. And that was around the time where He said, okay, I want you to leave what you know and go to the places I need you to go to meet the people I need you to meet, right? Like this was something that popped in my head and it was real. I started bawling right after I heard it, and I knew it was God's voice. Now, He didn't say this is how it's going to happen. Just like when you think about Mary's yes, He didn't say, hey, Mary, you're going to have the Son of God and, this is going to happen and this is going to happen and this is going to happen. He didn't tell me any of that. And He won't tell you that either, okay? Don't expect to know how it's going to unfold, but expect that it's gonna unfold, okay? So for us, we were called to travel. And at the time, what I could do was decide, do I want to put my daughter in school or do I want to continue homeschooling? And we felt very strongly that we needed to continue homeschooling. What I didn't know was that would be a preparation. My girls were already homeschooling, so going to living in a different country and moving around was a simple thing to do because we already had that kind of background. We were kind of used to being home anyway, so it was an easy transition to do that. Then my next step was God was calling me into this business, and I didn't know how it was going to unfold, but I knew it would eventually unfold. Does that make sense? That is how your faith needs to be, especially because when you're in business, you don't know exactly how it's going to unfold. But if you trust it from the very beginning, how would you show up differently to your decisions, to your calling, to your business? How would you show up different for your family, for yourself, rather than in fear and doubt? The shaky faith with worry is like when you are praying and you're like, okay, God, I really want you to do this, from fear, disappointment, control, worry. It's very different than when you pray in this idea of an expectant faith. What it does is it shifts your prayer. It shifts your waiting, and it shifts your decision making. Because when you know it's coming, when you know it's done, you can move forward on purpose without wasting so much time doubting and second guessing. It creates peace instead of anxiety, right? So here is how I want to invite you to practice this expectant faith this week. Pray with gratitude now. Write it down. 3 to 5 things that you are unbelievably grateful for today. I was recently talking to one of my clients and I was reminded of my husband. Not that I ever forget him, but I am so incredibly grateful for him. If it wasn't because of the amazing husband God gave me and because He put this mission together in both of our hearts, this business would not be happening. Retreats in Assisi would not be happening. He's home with our kids, He's working with me in the business. And it was a sacrifice, but it was an aligned sacrifice for both of us. But not everybody has that. And I am beyond blessed for him. And we don't want to miss those things that seem to be kind of normal in our life, like the person that's supporting us in this moment. My husband supported our family for years, and now I have the opportunity to do that for him as well, which is amazing. Like, this is such a gift for our family, such a gift for our daughter. That's another thing to be grateful for, to have their dad be so close to them, for our son to have his dad to play rough with, and for me to have my husband at home. It's a gift. Don't miss those gratitudes now in this season, because it will always be a season, right? And so we don't want to miss that. And that's the practice I want to encourage you to do this week. Pray with gratitude now. And also for me, as I pray for my clients who are going to be in a CC with me, I pray for them as if they're already there, because they are. God is already working in their heart. So my prayer is very different. My prayer is not from, hey, God, please, do you think you can find me those 4 women? I'm praying from, God, prepare those 4 women. Let them know that this is going to be an incredible experience for them. Prepare my heart to welcome them. That is a very different prayer than the worried prayer. Now, the second one is take one aligned step without needing certainty. In our humanity, we want to know that things are going to pan out for us. But if you are in alignment with that action, with that next step, God is there with you too. So instead of not taking steps or being stuck or being indecisive, take one aligned step and trust that it's going to work out for the best. And the last one is, I'm going to invite you to release the timeline. Stop putting God in a container that says, hey, God, from here to here, that's what you have to figure it out. And instead say, God, I trust your timing. I trust that your timing is way better than mine. You will never be disappointed in his timing. And I think if you look back in your life, you know that this is true. You are never disappointed in his timing. It always works out brilliantly. But it's because you were praying beforehand, believing that was coming. It is because you were taking courageous and aligned actions with him, and because you released how and when it was going to happen. So as you go forward in this week, ask yourself these 2 questions. Where is God inviting you to trust him more deeply? And what would change if you expected him to be faithful? Not question if he would be faithful, but expected him to be. Trust that he's going to be faithful, that he's going to complete his promise, that he's not done in your life. This is what true expectant faith looks like. It's an active faith. It's a trusting faith. It's a peaceful faith. All right, my loves, this is what I have for you today. And until next week, God bless. Thank you for joining us and for being a part of this incredible community. If you have found these topics helpful and you want to take it deeper and transform your life from the inside out, I want to invite you to join my signature group coaching program, Rooted and Radiant. It is 6 months surrounded by other amazing Catholic entrepreneurs growing with God at the center, healing the beliefs that hold them back, and stepping boldly into their most authentic self. If you want to learn more, the link is in the description. And until next time, God bless.